Okay. Can everybody see the cybersecurity with Crowder College and that lovely information services logo Cindy and Jacqueline made for us now? Are we good?
And now,
Okay. And I'm going to try to get, where did my, okay, well, that'll work. My video piece has disappeared.
As a moment of housekeeping here, if you could mute your audio just in case we have background noise, we would appreciate it. And until you need to ask a question, and the space bar should allow you to ask a question if you need to. That's kind of the trick in Zoom, is the space bar.
Okay. So I have, and I'm not sure what's happened this time, but typically I see my video, but I'm not seeing it. I've somehow covered it up. So y'all have to bear with me. Wave won't work when you try to get my attention. But welcome to cybersecurity, especially with October being Cybersecurity Awareness Month, along with many others things. We wanted to go ahead and take this chance to talk about phishing and talk about some cybersecurity awareness things. We'll do this again. I was telling the group that was here just a few minutes before 3, we'll do this again on Wednesday and again on Friday. The more people that can attend, the better. If you want to hear it again, we'll be here again. But if there's other people in your group or your area that didn't get to, tell them it's available again, and then we'll have this recording right now, so we'll send it to Stephen. But Al is here, VP of Information Services, and then myself in security. So first off, and Al will be jumping in and out here a few different times, but first off, quick password quick tips. Over the weekend, we had alerted that there were about 140 records with an @crowder.edu email address and an associated password in what are called, and now I just lost the word. Just
file dumps.
Yeah, data dumps. Yeah, just large groups of here's a username and here's a password. I reached out to those that we could tie specifically to different breaches, but these don't necessarily tie to any specific breach. And so it brought up this reminder again of password security. A couple of little things. Make sure as you're looking at your passwords for your computer here at Crowder, which also ties to your email and your Wi-Fi logins here at Crowder, but also your Facebook, your Amazon, your bank, Ginzabar, any of those different things that you log into. Tips: avoid password reuse. The reason these data dumps are so dangerous is the chances that you use, I love dogs, again, from Facebook to LinkedIn to Target to Amazon to Crowder are high, and they know that. Or if it's not, I think I said I love dogs, you might use I love dogs 1 or 1 love dogs. And so that keying it up slightly off. Avoid that password reuse. They're going to try those and just start seeing if they work. Brute force is what they'll call it. Avoid easily guessable passwords. Password and password 1 and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 are those kill me. Especially those that use something like I love dogs 1, and it tells you you have to change your password. It's been 6 months, and changing it to I love dogs 2. Help me out here. Change it a little bit more than that for us, because when they find in that breach that I love dogs 1 was your password, they're going to try that next one up. Change them periodically also. That part of the reason this data dump is frightening but not as frightening is because we've changed passwords more frequently than some organizations that'll keep them for 6 and 10 years. That way I know that if it was prior to January when this breach happened, it shouldn't be the same password. And then avoid using pets' names, your name, your children's names, places that you've lived, date of births, all those things that we typically use that are easily found in public record or that you give away on Facebook, Instagram, those sorts of things. So,
if I may, Daniel.
Yep, jump in.
So on the LinkedIn hack that happened a few years back, the passwords that were used, they were tried against Netflix. And these password dumps were very, very easily downloadable. And let's just say that Netflix had a 500% increase in usage, and they tied it back to the LinkedIn password exposure, because people use the exact same email address for LinkedIn as they did their Netflix accounts with the same passwords. So Netflix had a 500% increase in their bandwidth costs and their copyright costs because of a LinkedIn breach. So I want to just reiterate the fact that please never ever use a password for a personal service like Hulu or Netflix or Spotify that's the same as your Crowder accounts. Always keep them different. And if you could do me one big favor, if you think 10 characters is too is just long, try 11. Just go one more character for me. The longer the password, the better. It makes a tremendous amount of difference in the brute forcing. And like Daniel said, please don't do I love dog and then I love dog 1 or I love dog 2020. Something that's guessable. They are getting really good about figuring passwords out. There's complete databases, dossiers on every account on the internet, and they're keeping track of passwords that has been exposed for this email address. And there's a whole list of them, and they'll start seeing patterns. If it's apple, banana, orange, well, they're going to try the fruits, and they will try the fruits. They know, they read that password field, and they actually try that. If they see dog 1, dog 2, they're going to try dog 3, 4, 5, 6. They will do that when they're trying to guess passwords. And our detection mechanisms to keep false positives down, we have to have so many allowed tries on passwords. So we have to give them a few grace period or few grace attempts. So if you can help me in the long run by just really making it random, making it very, very special for Crowder, that would go a long ways. So that's my 2 cents on passwords.
He had that little bit about the allowing a few tries. How many of y'all, those that I see raised hands, but you can use the raised hand feature, have an iPhone and gotten locked out for an hour because you typed in the password wrong too many times too quickly? Only me? Okay, well, those sorts of things that lock you out for a period of time are there to keep that brute force and to slow it down from people just trying everything, because machines are really fast. So with that one, and I apologize for taking that right off the back here, I didn't want to do a bait and switch, but with talking phishing, we might as well bait you a little bit, right? So today, phishing, what it is, why it's a problem, how to spot it, and hopefully what you can do about it to help us out, help out Crowder, and on personal level, we all have personal email accounts these days and phones that receive text messages. It's just growing. So this is one thing Al's had to get used to. I try to start off with some sort of cartoon I'll find somewhere along the way. And my hope is after today, you don't end up in the graveyard of the always shared a password. Or in the end, a friend to all Nigerian princes. My favorite, he died clicking on the ones he loved. Those that just get click happy, and it's a link. It looks great. Let's try it out and see where it goes. But first off, phishing. What is phishing? And I was looking back on this. I'm going to have to see if Al can share why they spell it phishing at some point. I've put him on the spot today. He's thinking on it. He's going to find out while he's sitting there. It's an attempt to obtain sensitive information, usually disguising themselves in this attempt as a trustworthy source, almost always in some form of electronic communication. That can be email, oftentimes spoofing or faking an email address. Instant messaging, so your text messaging, your instant messaging over chat in Teams, over different chat bots on websites, all sorts of different things. He pulled it already. He's really quick. So the PH, if you look in the chat, it was just to me then. Yep. So I had heard this before. I don't know. I was wondering if you would confirm, and I was just thinking on it, and I didn't give him a heads up. But phishing, the understanding I had, some of the earliest hackers were called freaks with a PH. And so that as this hacking, using phishing emails, using disguised emails as a source of entering into your domain and getting your credentials or getting access to your stuff. We just carried that PH over and started calling it phishing. So that's where I think you spelled that wrong, came from. So just a few statistics here. I always start off with a bit of the why. Why should phishing be a concern? Why is it a problem? Why should you care? Why do I care? 32% of confirmed data breaches in last year involved a phishing attack of some sort, which leaves a whole lot of other room for other things to discuss in later staff developments. 94% of malware, unwanted bad programs designed to slow down your computer or do other malicious things, gather information, involved email in their delivery scheme. Almost all of them. $26 billion were reported lost by victims. That's worldwide, but
Yeah.
$26 billion.
I want to make a comment here. That's what's reported. The unreported numbers may be in the trillions. So that was reported to the authorities. 26 billion was lost, but it could technically be in the trillions because a lot of people do not report breaches and there are issues they have to do to fix those breaches. And 32% again is what has been reported. A lot of people don't report them, so that number should be higher on the 30% of confirmed breaches started with a phishing attack.
The really exciting news on this page, though, that phishing attacks are on the decline, right? That sounds wonderful. We can all take a moment and relax and take a deep breath and go, okay, nothing to freak out about, except that they're going more and more for a quality over quantity. Why send out I pick on Nigerian princes, and I'll have another one later. Why pick on the Nigerian prince? I don't know how many of y'all have seen it, but as a child growing up, as a young adult in the early 2000s, I am your Nigerian prince, uncle. I would like to include you in my will. Please send me your banking account information, and I'll make sure you can catch some of my millions when I pass away in a few years. Most of us avoided those. A few people didn't. They're getting a lot better. Spear phishing, where they search out, research, find out exactly who you are, what your role is in an organization, what sort of activities you engage in, and they send you an email that is tailor-made for you, that you're more likely to click on. They're getting mean. Some of them are really, really good.
You guys maybe recall that I mentioned that there's a database with all the email addresses and your passwords that you used. They also know your occupation, your location, and this database is being passed around on the dark webs. They mine for this, so they know the accounts payable people. They know the faculty, and they know what type of things you might fall for based upon your category.
So one of the other pieces to phishing, just to be aware of and think about how they work as we go into the next bit will be examples and such, and working through some of them and what to look for. But we use the term in IT a lot, social engineering, when talking about phishing. And I've had a few people go, what do you mean by that? And I personally have come across it as it's a term we use in IT and not necessarily that carries over any significance to others. But social engineering, what it means when you hear Al say that was a social engineering scheme, or me or somebody else, they're appearing to be from a trusted source. It's coming from Al-Stadler at crowder.edu or Al-Stadler at crowder.com. It looks really, really similar. It's enticing. They're trying to grab my attention with a special offer. This coupon, good today only. There's a sale going on. I want to give you $1 million. Mark Zuckerberg is going to sign me up for this, but he's only offering it for a limited time. Something enticing, something that I'd like. Also fear. I don't know, but I've seen several. If you've ever seen an email that says, we've turned on your webcam and we've seen what you're doing, and we're going to send it to your spouse or your boss, and you're going, I haven't been doing anything, but how did they get my webcam? That fear of threatening penalties, legal action, your bill is overdue, your taxes are owed, your car is going to be impounded. There's been multiple logins to this site by you from different locations. Please click here to confirm. So those fear, those threats, the sense of urgency, oftentimes there's a time limit on it. You need to do it in some form of 24 hours, 90 minutes now. act quickly, trying to get you to just move faster so that you don't slow down and think. Hyperlinks. Oftentimes, phishing emails, just to get it out of the way and get it moving quickly, will include some sort of link. Please click on the following link. Or attachments. Open up this PDF, open up this Word document, this Excel document. Interact with me in some way, shape, or form. So that's what we mean by that social engineering. It is so frightening as to watch, and what they're playing on is oftentimes our speed. We're needing to work quickly. Our sense of customer service, when you're working with you at a business. The one that Al and I were discussing earlier, there's this video he showed me about a year ago or so that is absolutely terrifying. This woman pulls up a computer, pulls up a video of a baby crying, calls up a bank. All she knows is the account number and a name. And she then goes with turning up the volume of this baby crying and says, I just moved. I'm trying to pay the water bill or something, and my husband must have never put me on the account. Can you please get me the password for the account? It says the one that I've always used is not working. And the poor customer service representative on the other end, trying to help out a woman with a crying baby, does exactly what every customer service agent wants to do, hopefully, and helps the customer. And unfortunately, it's not the real customer. And so that preying on speed, preying on that help, all those sorts of things. Al, you looked like you were about to jump in.
Yeah, there's a lots of little things that they do. They may call back 3 or 4 times trying to find a different person. They may, they really work on the emotions aspects. The social engineering people, when they're gearing up on this stuff, they look at that, the crying baby, that's just a recording. That's all it is. And they play it and they change the volume. Multiple different aspects on this. So go ahead and go jump to the next slide.
So with that, Al and I were going to talk through this one a little bit, and then we'll start putting it to y'all. But one of the first things to be looking for when you're looking at an email, you've seen it come in, and this should happen every time. One of the two things that I've noticed so far with phishing is we tend to get them and we click on them when we're in a hurry and when we're on our phones. I think there's something about we're busy doing multiple things and or it's harder to see. But be wary of anything requesting sensitive information. If they're requesting, please log in. Please provide your account number. Please provide your bank account. Please provide, any of that sort of stuff that might be considered sensitive. We need to confirm your date of birth even to be the start of something along those lines. So to continue, please, download the file attached to this email and update your login information. Please give us your login information, right? So be wary of anything along those lines. The second piece to this that I have on this one is legit organizations usually call or refer to people by name. Not always, but just in trying to track and figure out what is a phishing email is oftentimes looking and just going, what's odd? How many things that are odd are in here to put it over the top as this is phishing or this may be legit? And starting to track, and there are some other things we can do farther down, but those are some of the first things, just looking for those oddities. They always refer to me as Daniel. Why did they say customer? They know who I am. They have my email address. Why did they say customer? So, Al, is there anything you wanted to mention on this one that you noticed that made you jump a little bit?
Well, of course, the time, 3 a.m., kind of odd.
Okay.
But for me, it was the little Global Payments Incorporated. Look, that's all one word. That's
here.
atypical down here. Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all can see my mouse with this. I think it's sharing that whole screen.
Okay.
Can y'all see my mouse? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So that and the file name. Look at the file name that they are attachments. That's not typical as well. The date, the customer name not being there. It's little things. Daniel, you mentioned that the request for a date of birth. The Mexican drug cartel ran a phishing scheme a while back, and they just sent out an email every so often, and they would ask for date of birth. They would ask for a password reset question. They would ask you for common things to confirm, different pieces of information, and they were harvesting password reset functions for Facebook. That's all they were doing. They were harvesting password reset questions so that then they could get Facebook dollars. So
they could then go in, they know your email, they can click, I forgot my password. It says, okay, answer these 3 questions or these 2 questions. And over time you have given them your answers.
yeah, and they were in there for the long game. They were like 18 to 20 months harvesting this stuff over time. So yeah, this one's an interesting one. Let's go to the next one, Daniel.
Okay, so with this one, and I don't know how many everybody has mics or not, but chat, jump in on the mic. What are the things that you're noticing as you look through this one on the left that look odd? What are the things that jump out to you? Anybody notice anything? Brittany Simpson typed in return email. Somebody else said email address.
Okay. Yeah. Why would they be sending you something about crowder.edu? It should probably come from a crowder.edu address. Very good. What else is odd about this one?
Saying feel free to unmute your mics too if you'd rather talk. There's no wrong answers on this. Honestly, this is not a science as far as just recognizing them.
So another thing that you can look at is the email address ends in a .de, which is a domain name. It's Denmark. And the click here link midway through is a .cz. They don't match. They want you to act quickly.
Very good.
The language is strange. Yeah. Once again, the official looking aspect of the very last line, you don't typically incorporate a male administrator. So kind of an oddity there. And you typically don't do a 2020 a date. You don't incorporate or copyright that. So those are the things here in this one.
I believe it was Cindy said we should not have to verify to keep our account active.
Right.
Especially here at Crowder, yeah. We're not going to ask you that.
Or your password.
Yeah.
Good catches.
Language is strange. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. If you don't know this, do not know this action. It doesn't read now. I don't know. I write strangely sometimes, so you may catch me in an odd moment of maybe Al edited me and that was it instead of my wife, who would catch and say clean that up. But
no closing. No. Yep. Good.
Yep. Okay.
Good job.
So, yeah,
okay.
Matching the organization and matching the organization scheme. One thing that this one doesn't show with it not coming from crowder.edu, but what's the scheme that we use here for Crowder emails? What do you, if you receive an email from somebody at Crowder, what do you expect it to come and look like? What's that email address look like? Very good. Kathy said full name at crowder.edu.
Yeah.
So you see that first initial last name at crowder.edu. Not out of the realm of possibility, but hesitate, pause here. Yeah. There's something weird. And you'll notice as you deal with different organizations that they all have their scheme. Some will do first name dot last name at whatever, or last name hyphen first initial at whatever their organization is, and figure out those. And it's one of those, there's 1,000 organizations, but you'll deal with a lot of the same people. And so you'll start to recognize that doesn't make sense. That's not normal.
So what is our scheme for our students? Pop quiz. What is the scheme for our students? If a student's going to email from Crowder's system, what will it be?
Brittany, yep. Ah, good. Okay, and we got the other part. Yeah, Brittany said student.crowder.edu. And so, yep, student. Be careful with that S. One, if a student tries to log in with the student with an extra S at the end, it won't work. But if you see one coming from student.s.crowder.edu, we might have something going on. And then, yeah, full name 00, typically 1.
But it will go up as we have collisions.
Yep. I think we have one person this semester with a 3 already. So when we get, John Smith, the the 5th and 6th and 7th. I don't know what the name will be, but there will
Okay.
be some.
Good job. Okay, next slide.
Yep. Okay, what are y'all noticing on this one?
If you receive this, would you think it's suspect?
Yeah. Would you trust it or would you not? It's coming from SunTrust.
The link says SunTrust.
Has to be trustworthy.
It looks professional, like Joe said earlier.
Okay, we're starting to get return email spelling errors.
Okay.
SunTrust.
All right.
Ooh, I hadn't even noticed that one. SunTrust. Good call. The 2. But the 2 is blanked. Yep.
Now
Does
the
not
2
have my
can be
name.
blank. Now the 2 can be blank, and we use the same thing here to cut down on the replies on the distribution list. So it's kind of odd for a suspension, but it's possible to protect email lists. But yeah, we don't use this. We don't,
Yep.
non-vendor. Yep.
And me and Joe are going, yep, this is not.
Love that.
Yep. This is not ours. We don't use this group. Anything else y'all are noticing? Poor grammar again.
Well, yeah. But they're getting better at the grammar piece. So this was pretty good.
There's a few though, and you
Things.
notice, that we don't capitalize our own SunTrust in that first line. That's and then a couple others. But yeah, they are getting better. That's the one that's getting frustrating. Used to be a real easy tell. It's still an easy tell, but it doesn't exist as often.
So if you would hover over that suntrust.com.
Are y'all able to see my cursor on this? Is that
yes?
Okay, so right here, if this were live and I hovered over it, you can keep going.
You would see down the bottom what it would actually resolve to, but you have to just don't click. That's the key. You can't click, but if you hover over, it will show you what it's really going to. And this is kind of a dead giveaway. When it's going to something that is not suntrust.com, but something very, short and lots of generic letters and numbers, that's 99% of the time very, very bad.
And this one, when he says hover and don't click, this one makes me so nervous. And I've had a few calls in the past so I was hovering and then I clicked. And I'm scared of the same thing. So I will literally take that mouse and grab it by the side from the bottom and then push it over. That way my hand is not on the cursor. My hand cannot click just to see, especially on those when you're getting really nervous. But you'll see, that bit.ly, it is nothing to create a hyperlink out of. Oftentimes you'll see instead they would just sign into your account and your account will be lit blue, and that's a hyperlink, or a picture can be hyperlinked. And if you just hover over it, you can see then either in the bottom or it'll pop up right there over the text, where is it actually going? And if you see that instead of going to suntrust.com, it's going to Gmail or Google Docs, or some of the ones that are, you see those, they're gathering something oftentimes. They've got a form, they've got something they want you to put in some information on. Bitly, that's just a generic shortened URL. Anybody can create those. Where is it going?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to point out on this one also real quick, privacy policy and terms of service. Just because it says something like unsubscribe or check our privacy policy if you're concerned, it looks professional, right? But that can just as easily be a unsubscribe. Okay, please give us your email and username so that we can unsubscribe you, or your username and password, so we can unsubscribe you. Absolutely, I'm tired of getting these emails. Here's my username and password. Take me off that list. You're now signed up for the good, for good.
Yeah.
So
if you would have clicked on that link, you also are confirming that you're alive, that you're somebody that clicks. And that you're usually... Yeah. Go ahead.
As we talk about this, what's a way to defeat this? If we thought maybe they were a vendor, but this looks weird. We do use SunTrust, but they don't. They normally call us, dear Cindy, dear Al, dear Karen, and they shouldn't send us to a bit.ly. So we're concerned, but we do use SunTrust. So
What can you do?
what should we do?
If it was from your bank that you actually use,
Very good. Jacqueline says call.
call your regular contact at the bank. Yeah, call the bank. Look them up in the phone book. Don't call them from the number they give you.
Yep.
Don't ever do that. Call them, look them up. Or there's one other thing you can do.
Email them back, right?
Daniel? No. Don't email them back. Why not?
Sorry.
Why do you not want to email suntust.com? Well, once
I'm just going
again,
to ask them if they're...
you've confirmed that you're a live person, that you're in a hurry, that you can be social engineered maybe, and they'll try something else. But replying back, it's very common that somebody's actually sitting there, in some place. It could be even New York City. It could be in Illinois. It doesn't matter. It could be foreign country. And they're replying back, and they actually will converse with you.
And of course, yeah, Cindy, you have given them a legitimate email address, and if you reply to that email, they're going to, of course, say, you're going, is this legitimate? And of course, the answer is yes.
Yeah, it's legitimate. And matter of fact, Daniel, you may be on a higher risk than normal. Would you mind doing this form as well? And reset the password reset questions.
So anytime you're seeing one of these that you're concerned about, actually, we'll talk about it after this next one.
Okay.
So what's the red flags here? No business name. Okay. Yeah, just sales accountant. The only business name is up there in the in the email address domain.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a wonderfully generic email or business address? Email, yeah. Ah, Mary Beth Hunter, you do not have an unpaid bill.
Okay.
What about our accounts payable group, or some of those, that
Oh yeah,
they're getting bills from everywhere, and we may or may not have told them, by the way, we just bought something. Oh, yep, we're a generic customer again. Okay.
Okay.
I hope this email finds you well. Yep. And healthy, though. They really do care about me.
Yeah. The other thing is, if it's an overdue, you should have had another one before. Once again, that sense of urgency.
I say that's that little bit of urgency here. Please do this.
Yep, it happens.
I'm saying it happens. These are common, and that's part of why we're doing this, is to try to expose and get people aware. Because some people, receive these similar ones all the time, and it's not too difficult.
Okay.
It's a .com email, so it could be from a business, but yeah, there's a lot of times you'll see something else. Yeah, it's just that's not normal, maybe. Yep.
Okay.
So what's the way to handle one of these? You get one of these in, but you're not sure. You go, I have ordered something from a signed company. Did I forget to pay? What do you do? Yep, .biz often. Check the order. Okay.
Send
it to me.
Yes.
That's why my email inbox is like at 30 unread right now. I can't keep up today.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
that's what we're here
please
for.
Email it to me. I would rather you send it to me. Just be patient with me. But yeah, what's another way that you could find out, real quickly?
So in this case, it's a little interesting. So they don't give you your phone number, so you're gonna look them up.
A little harder, yeah. SunTrust, you might be able. They're in my bank. Yeah, it's a vendor. Call your contact.
You're gonna look them up. They're gonna have a legitimate web page, maybe, with a phone number.
Vendor.
And they're gonna call you, or you're gonna call them, and hey, I got this invoice for $720. Oh yes, you did. We really need that payment now. We're gonna turn you over to the collection agency. So you gotta be careful. This is the hard one.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little bit of forensics on the back end.
Trying to go out and figure out what were those orders that I've made. has, what's that sign company? Call up my contact. Yeah, you at some point hopefully worked with somebody, or go to that website that you utilized for the order
So
and go.
please use the Ginzabar system. Please use POs. Please let the accounts payable and accounts receivable know what's going on. It really helps.
Yep. As Karen said, there's no contact for you to reach out to with this one. If
Right.
they provided it, it very well could be an illegitimate contact too of
Right.
somebody else. So this is one, you've got to figure out. Yeah, I did purchase a banner for, I don't know, whatever field or, baseball stadium where you put up a banner. We got it done at Neosho Graphics. That's weird. I'll call it Neosho Graphics. That's the only sign I've had made in the last month or
So
6
Daniel,
months.
why don't we just open the invoice and just look at it?
So, macros is the word. PDFs are notorious. Word, Excel, PowerPoint 2 all have macros, and they disable them automatically now, but they can still be run. It's not impossible by a long shot. At which point, they download or install some sort of software, and they start working their magic. They start pushing in a piece of malware, and that's that original hook. And from there, things can spread because we're all tied together, and we like being tied together. The network is a wonderful thing. It is also a dangerous thing.
A
So
PDF, what we call a loaded PDF with malware, is very, very easy to create. Daniel knows back at Southern, I was used to prank my guys and test them all the time, get into their cell phones, do all kinds of things from just PDFs. Very, very powerful. So very, very cautious with attachments, especially if you did not request it.
yep. And I didn't even tell on you. You told on yourself.
I know.
So
Okay,
this
so this
one
is,
I wanted to share today. Go ahead, Al.
go ahead.
Oh, well, this is the one that we changed the PowerPoint this afternoon from this morning. I started getting phone calls as we started our morning meeting, we'd already received a few phone calls. And of course the question was, is this one of the phishing awareness, the ones that you're sending, Daniel, right? And I'm going,
What's wrong
it
with this
doesn't
one?
look like something I would send the link. So just to tell you what I started doing immediately, the first thing I did when I saw it was looked and hovered over this play voice message. It didn't look like a few of the links that I know are seen there randomized, but it didn't look familiar. And then I actually logged in to see if any, recently had been sent to this, but I also started looking and going, this is clean, this is nice. We started digging into the headers, which takes a little bit of back end work to find out where it actually came from, where it was going to. I could, within about 4 or 5 minutes, I was telling people, it's not me, but I don't know what it is yet. Give me a minute to see how bad it is. But this was a perfect lead in to that awareness, being careful. Are there any things that are odd to y'all as you look at this that go, that doesn't look like something we'd receive?
What's your flags on this one?
The little piece here where it says you responded, that was me forwarding so Al could see the headers also. So I'll confess I forwarded it as an attachment. So that's that piece. But other than that,
Okay, could be.
oh, I was missing data's transposed, not US format and message, UN versus voice messaging.
Yeah, the data's in, right, that's one thing.
Okay.
No period at the end of you have 4 voice messages pending. The admin.help, not our standard, it's help or help desk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. This was good. If you clicked on the play voice message, it asked you to log in. It looked like a Crowder portal, like the portal.office.com login page. And if you put in credentials, they were taking that credentials and then they were sending the screen that was legitimate and they were leaving the session. So they were actually doing a redirect, harvesting the account and giving you the login just fine. And then you're scratching your head, I got logged into my email, something's not right here. So definitely one to be concerned. A lot of you got, not everybody, but a lot of you did receive it. They harvested the email addresses from the website.
We should just take off all the email addresses off the website.
No,
Cindy
but
doesn't like that idea. Yeah.
I know it's a catch-22.
It is, and so that's one of these two. What he was talking about for just to explain it again, they actually are taking those credentials and trying it against
The live
Office
system.
365. Does it work?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, they'll send it back and tell you, "Hey, that didn't work. Try it again."
And Amy's correct. We don't have this service yet, but it's a lot of places are turning this on because of the remote work.
Mm-hmm.
They're turning this on because their phone system can't get connected for home users, so they're rushing and they're spending money on putting voicemail to email so that the corporate customer service can be taken care of. So
While
this
on
is
quarantine, while at home. Yep.
yeah. So this is a big thing. We're going to see a lot more of this type of approach in the coming weeks and months ahead, because a lot of companies are doing this, for their corporations. And we may do it at some point, but we're a ways down. We're probably literally a year on this one.
And we'll put out some training on what it'll look like and get it standardized so that when one comes across odd, you go, that doesn't
Right.
match the scheme. So
Okay.
just this review real quick. These are the ones we talked about. Be wary of anything requesting sensitive information. Do they call you by name or by customer or dear, sir? It should come from the organization. That should match, and it should match the scheme, right? First name, last name at crowder.edu, not first name dot last name, right? Legit companies know how to spell. Somebody else pointed out the grammar a couple times. Yeah, they're getting better at that, but they do. Unrequested attachments. I didn't ask for them to send me that. They don't typically send me that, or I don't remember ordering anything. And links match legitimate URLs. Hover over it. Don't click when you hover, but hover over it. See where it's actually going. Feel free. You get a link to FedEx, and you go, well, I've ordered a few things. Go to FedEx and find in your email where that shipping, that the report, hey, this was your shipping number.
Tracking number.
Yeah, let's go. I'll go to FedEx.com and then go search for it instead of just clicking on the link. Yeah, is it an extra step? Does it save some headaches sometimes?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So This guy here, I don't want to go through all of it. It is too much for today, but we will include it. It'll be in the video. I'll probably go ahead and post it on the phishing, crowderphishing.blogspot.com. And y'all can go pull it if you want to print it out and keep it nearby. This is done by KnowBe4, which is a vendor we use, and it includes some of these tidbits and a few more. The one that I wanted, the two that I wanted to focus on or just point out here, we sort of hit several different times. These second and third from the bottom on the right. Is the sender asking me to click a link or open up an attachment that seems odd or illogical? It doesn't make sense. This isn't normal. And do I have an uncomfortable or gut feeling about the sender's request? And a lot of that takes time, which I know we're all short of. But that's the number, the times that I've heard of people clicking on stuff or been told or, in previous places found out about it. Most of it's happening when they're in a hurry. It's the very start of the day and they had 30 unread emails, and they had a meeting at 8:30 or a class to get to. It's the very end of the day. They're trying to get home, or it's between classes, between meetings. And the other piece is on phones, which I think often equates to in a hurry and or can't read it very well. Some of these things get more difficult to spot on a phone. And then they click.
Yep.
And then they regret later. We all regret in some form or fashion. Al, is there any that you wanted to point out?
The big one for me is like the SunTrust, missing a letter, very close, an R or an M looks like an R and an N. So they kind of take advantage of, that cell phone where you're smaller and you can't really distinguish something. So that very bottom, that Bank of America, if you go to the very bottom on the left there, that's starting to be very, very common.
If y'all notice, that's an R and an N put together. Yep.
But you read it because your mind's in a rush. You read it as Bank of America. That happens. Of course, like you said, the different linkage. If somebody you've never done business with before, or occasionally they're getting pretty good about keeping things in clusters where they know all the English people, they know all the math people, but sometimes they will have a president and a custodian and a security officer. Why would they get an email together unless it's an all campus-wide email? So odd audiences, those type of things. We'll put this out there for you just as a kind of a safety guide. Okay.
So I'm picking on the Nigerians, and I just, in defense again, the Nigerian phishing schemes really made a name for themselves in the late 90s, early 2000s. I didn't see any hands earlier, but they were out there. Al will back me on this. There were a lot of Nigerian princes wanting to give away $1 million or more. I'm still waiting now. So with that, you've gotten the phishing email. What do? The two quickest and most simple things that, just do not click on the link. Do not open the attachment. You don't do those two things, we will be all right. You click on the link or you open the attachment. As we said with the attachment and the loaded PDFs, that software, that malware starts downloading, installs, and starts running, and we're already in trouble. You go to that link, it could do the same thing, or it could just request information that you then give away because it looks exactly like your email login, or exactly like LinkedIn or Facebook or FedEx, because those websites are public. You can copy that stuff and make it look the same. So do not click, do not open. My excitement, Al's holding me off, but coming next week or the week after, but very soon, we will have that wonderful little guy. It's not on your email now, but you can see this is my email. We've been testing it out here in IT, playing with it, making sure it functions well, because my last thing I want to do is roll something out to everybody and watch it not work right the way it's intended. But it says Phish Alert Report, and then underneath that says Phish Alert. And you'll see, hopefully, that it is a little envelope with a phishing hook through it.
So this is key.
Email, do it.
This is key. We'll be rolling this out. This will be a way for you to report phishing, and it will help multiple people. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, I say what I love about this is its simplicity. So rather than having to email help desk, having to, hey, can you forward that as an attachment, and all this different things that we'll talk about here in a little bit, this will simplify a lot of things for those of you, or for everybody, with your on-campus email, with your Crowder.edu email. So I received this Apple invoice email. Says, Apple invoices, no reply at Apple Online. My Crowder.edu is not tied to anything Apple. Thank you for shopping at the Apple Store. I can't afford the Apple Store one of these days, but I got to get my wife through her EDD, and I've got to get a master's done first, right? Attached to the receipt from my recent purchase. Nope, not me. So I click on Phish Alert, and then this guy pops up here on the right. It says Phish Alert, know before. That's the company that we're using that'll do a bunch of the phishing awareness. Are you sure you wanted to report this as a phishing email? There's the subject, there's where it's from, and I click this button, Phish Alert. You're on your browser because you're in a classroom and you had to check your email, or you're working on a machine that's not yours for some reason. You're working at home, and you didn't bring your laptop, but you pulled up your Chromebook that y'all have got as a family. You've logged into Chrome or Safari and you pulled up your email. Same thing will be available over here in the browser on the far right hand side. In that same email, there's my 3 little dots that open up this drop down menu. There's the Phish Alert button. Notice the little fish hook and the little bitty envelope, a little harder to see, but still there. Same thing on my phone. I don't have an Android to show, but it'll look really similar. Those 3 dots will play a key. I'm on an Apple, and this will be an iOS, so iPads and iPhone, but it'll also work on Androids. In the Outlook app, I have to add that too. So if you use the built-in one at the bottom of your iPhone, it won't work there. If you download Outlook from the App Store, and it's Microsoft Outlook, it'll be there. And honestly, really enjoy it. For those of you that have struggled with getting your email onto your phone, download the Outlook app. It's great. It works really well. And it keeps my personal email and my work email separate, just to help keep that going. But I click those 3 dots. There's the Phish Alert button. What's really fantastic about it is when you click OK or click Yes, Phish Alert, I do want to submit it, you get one of 2 responses. We are actively training campus and trying to find out who are our clickers, keep everybody aware that this happens. Some of you receive phishing emails often. Some of you never receive them hardly, and that one is all it takes. Others, you receive so many different strange emails that one could slide by. And so trying to get people aware of the different types that are out there. If it's one that we have sent that's simulated by KnowBe4, it'll say, congratulations, it was a simulated attack, and basically, good job, you recognized it. If it's not one, it will say thank you. And I tagged it a little bit differently. Thank you for reporting this email. Because of people like you, Crowder College is more secure. And what that will do is it will alert me and Al, a mailbox that we'll share, and it forwards on to us too. Try to look at it. Depends on how overwhelmed we get, but we're going to assume you clicked it as, or you submitted it as phishing. You believe it's phishing and not worry. You're not needing it for any reason. If you're concerned like it might be legit and you're really not sure, holler. Call, we can do some digging into it if you think you really might need it. But if you're going, I think this is phishing and I don't need it, they'll call me if I really do owe $1 million or $30 or $600. We'll let it slide. But that also reports to Microsoft then. And if we see 10 of them reported, we're going to put out on crowderphishing.blogspot.com, hey, watch out for this, guys. This is out there. Or we'll send out an all-employee email like we did today, because that was fairly widespread. And it will go to Microsoft, and they'll start putting together it. They're not going to recognize it at 10 or 20. It may be 1,000 or 500, but they'll go, hey, we have a problem. These headers, these different, it's from this group. It looks like this. It has these different keywords. We're going to start blocking it on our end before it even gets to Crowder and any other organization. So it not only helps us, it can actually help out anybody using 365. And so other groups do the same thing.
Please don't click all your email as phishing. Be selective, but it does help to do it. So I would love for you to do it. It's okay if you miss one or two up and, it was legitimate, but do help because it will help the campus. It will help other institutions that leverage this. So that's my plug there. But don't do all your email.
After you report it, yeah, Brittany just messaged you can delete it. It should actually move it to your deleted. I did have one that it took it a little bit today, but it should move it to your deleted. And then I always suggest go to your deleted, right click and hit delete just to clear it out and be done. That way you don't accidentally interact with it. So last one, Al gave me permission. I didn't talk to Glenn first. I already clicked. It's gonna happen. It is not the end of the world, but if we don't do something about it, it could be pretty bad. And the longer it takes to take care of it, the more problematic it becomes. So time is of the essence. You click on one and you go, I shouldn't have clicked on that. That, it pops up and says this was phishing, or gives you some sort of wonderful, pop-up and frightening, or it doesn't, and it just asks for credentials, but instead of taking you to a voicemail, it sends you to your email again. I don't think I should have clicked that. So first thing, call IT immediately, 455-5712. Please put that in your phone. Put it somewhere where you'll remember it. Call IT. If it's
leave a message.
Yep. If we don't answer, leave a message, call again after a little bit. Time is of the essence. If they've gained access to your login credentials, I have a problem, and it may take a little while before they use it, or they may start immediately. They may have downloaded malware to your machine. They may not do anything with it, or they may do it immediately, but the sooner we know, the better. Also, we need to know what you did too. If you can, I didn't put that, but just remember, did I open the attachment, or did I just open the email? Opening the email is not the end of the world 99.999% of the time. But did I click on the attachment? Did I put in information or not? How far did you interact with this? Forward the email as an attachment to help@crowder.edu. That's for the next 2 weeks. After that, with the fish alert button, you won't have to worry about that anymore. To do that, reply all forward. This little guy next to it, it says more. If I had expanded it bigger, you click on that down and then forward as an attachment. That allows Al and I a little bit more of the back end, the MX records behind this email, the headers, to see what's going on rather than just viewing the text. And then, especially for the after hours stuff, I know everybody works on Friday nights and Saturday evenings and everything, but if you catch us after hours for some reason, time is still of the essence. Please CC Al, CC me, let us know so that we can get that email and we can go and look and see what we need to do and how dire of a situation is it. I'd rather know and be, quote unquote, bothered on a Friday evening than find out Sunday that a problem has been allowed to persist because I didn't check the help desk email and didn't come in and check the voicemails.
So please don't feel bad letting us know.
Yeah. Yeah. It will make me much happier to know earlier than later.
At the previous location, we had one go through, and they were trying the accounts literally 7 minutes after the harvest and logging in. 7 minutes after they've sent out the email, and people were clicking on it and filling it out, and it was an urgency from the president. I need you to look at this HLC documentation. Would you please review it and give me your opinion as somebody not part of the process? And that's all it was. They knew that we were going through an HLC accreditation. It was from the president. Looked like it was from the president. It was 2 letters off, and .com. But the sense of urgency, and within 7 minutes of them sending that out, they were accessing accounts from around the world. 7 minutes. So let us know.
Yep. So with that, I'd hope to do just a little bit on Jira, but we've only got about 3 minutes left, and I want to be cognizant of everybody's time.
Questions?
So, yeah, questions, concerns, thoughts.
We've put them all to sleep.
I've got most of them are already, you can tell, blacked out, laid over.
Oh boy.
Exhausted. Okay, I got a thumbs
we
up.
Scared them. We scared them.
Yep, we scared them. If there's no questions while they're thinking, keep thinking. I'm going to, with the 2 minutes,
give a bonus. Go for it.
Yeah, real quick. So TJ and the physical plant are utilizing our same ticketing system with us. And he'd said, hey, can you please do a PD on this? I'd like to do one. I need to. But it's really quick and simple. If you have an information services or a physical plant issue you need taken care of, go to www.crowder.edu/ticket. Okay, we shortened it up. Al mentioned this at the very beginning of the semester, and it was about a 4-inch long URL. And we were working on it, but he wanted to get it out, and I agreed, let's get it out. But we got it shorter now. So thank you to Stephen over in Web, and I don't know who all else, but www.crowder.edu/ticket. When you get there, the first time you'll have to tell it, I forgot my password, and it'll send you an email because you're already in there. You should be, and it'll send you an email to your email. At that point, we'll get a link. Yep, but you just requested it, right? And you'll click on that and reset your password to something you can remember. Preferably not the same thing. Follow the credential or the ideas at the beginning. Once you log in, it'll bring you to a page that looks like this. Welcome to the Help Center. You'll see information service help, and you'll see physical plant. Pick which one you need. Hopefully, if you do send one to IS and it's really physical plant, we can flip it over to them. If you send it to them and it's really information services, you may need to call them. They may not send it to us. They don't have access to flip it over. But about 3 of us here can flip them the other direction. I'll try to check in on them every once in a while, but I'm not as good at checking. You go in, click on one of these buttons. You click on there, you'll come down here to this help desk, general help desk ticket. And it looks the same on their side. It'll already have your name because you're logged in. Provide a summary, provide a description, any screenshots, where the problem is or where you are, due date if needed. In the top right-hand corner, you can view any requests that are out there for you or by you. You're the reporter on. And so you can see I've got 10 requests going. I've got to get somebody on that in information services. You see it's a test ticket when I was getting some of them set up. Then you can click on those and come in and view what's actually there. If interacting with it, you can click on that escalate. Hey guys, this is a problem. Feel free to call us still. Feel free to email. Resolve the issue. Hey, I fixed it myself. I plugged in the monitor. I didn't think I could, but I already did it, and it was, or I turned off the power and turned it back on the computer, and everything's working fine.
Yep.
Cancel request. It's not something I need to worry about anymore. It's no longer an issue. And you can also, at the bottom, I didn't pull a screenshot, you can comment on it. This will also send you emails back and forth from us that you've got a ticket, that we're interacting with it, that we've assigned it to somebody, or that we commented. And you can reply to that email, and it'll drop your comment in there. But you can log in to see those or do the email piece. But if you call here and nobody's able to answer for some reason, too swamped, we got different people out sick or something, and you can't get to all the phones, you send an email, and some days the email gets crazy and it may get buried for a while. You can always go to www.crowder.edu/ticket and put in a ticket, and that's in our system, and you'll get notified if we close it and it's not done, and you can respond back, this isn't finished, or I need something more. Okay. So with that, I'm out. Any other questions before we let y'all go? Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all coming and spending an hour
helping you help us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to email, reach out, call if there's other things. We will do this same presentation 2 other times, so spread the word. This is one of those things that keeps Al and I a little bit nervous all the time. We'll always be nervous, but part of it is just training others, making sure that y'all are aware. And then if there's other things that y'all want to be trained on, we've done a couple on Teams. There's been some stuff on Zoom and Blackboard and OneDrive, and there's other stuff all the time. If there's things that y'all are, how do I use this? What are best practices or things to use? Let us know. We'd love to do up another training on that then. So, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Have a good evening. Stay safe.
Thank you, gentlemen.